So, from Woke War Room, according to Harvard's pyramid of white supremacy, you're a covert white supremacist if you support deportations, oppose Colin Kaepernick, or celebrate Columbus Day, or just do anything else, or are just born. The Harvard Graduate School of Education pushes this on future teachers, claiming these are day to day racist norms. Branding everyday views as white supremacy. Why again are taxpayers funding Harvard's divisive DEI indoctrination? Well, this is the question that Trump has been asking and saying that he doesn't think they should be. And I think he's quite right. The reason that it's so broad is so nobody can disagree with them, right? So they can just say that whatever your comeback is to their lunacy, to their fantasy world, they say, well, that's just what a white supremacist would say. Let's see. Pyramids of white supremacy. So this is Harvard. Harvard. We saw something similar from the Smithsonian. It's everywhere, this stuff happening behind the scenes. Not really so behind the scenes. Pyramid of white supremacy. White supremacy. This image illustrates the historical foundation of day-to-day racist norms that work together to produce extreme or spectacular acts of white supremacy. It shows that individualized white supremacy stems from centuries of structural racism in the US. And of course, it's just everything. So let's start at the bottom. Racial capitalism. They're all commies, right? They hate capitalism. That's the foundation of this, of the modern left, is just communism. They're communists. They hate capitalism. That's all that this is at the end of the day. All right, so what do we got here? Columbus Day, of course, Columbus Day. Anti-Kaepernick. I mean, he's a bit tired now. Nobody even cares about him anymore. But if you're against him, that's building. That's the foundation of the pyramid of white supremacy. Housing discrimination, tokenism, fraudulent lending. Can you have like affirmative action and then also say that tokenism is bad? There's no coherence to any of this, by the way. Let's see. Driving while black. Ugh. Tolerance. Did you hear that? Tolerance. So tolerance is white supremacy. They're just listing off everything. Let's see. Deportations. There you go. So you're in the country illegally. You kill a family for $50, and if you're deported, guess what? That's white supremacy. Gentrification. So wanting to live somewhere nice. White supremacy. White saviors. White saves. So if you understand it's a game you can't win, right? So, and it's a rigged game. Like the allies, the white allies, the white leftists, they don't seem to realize they can never win. There's no endpoint for them, right? Like if they don't help, if they're not allies, they're white supremacists. But if they do help, then they're white saviors. And then they're white supremacists as well. It's a totally rigged game. It's pointless being involved, right? I think it's much better just saying, like, I don't know, I don't hate any group, right? I don't blame anybody else for my own failures. Like, I just worry about myself. Like, I don't, if somebody's cool to me, I'm cool to them, and I don't care what their identity is. I think that's a much better way of living. Let's see. Fetishizing POC, whitewashing in Hollywood. Yeah, that's happening in Hollywood these days. Calling the police on black people. So that's just a statement. Just anytime you do that. You see how this is all just rigged, right? It's all just rigged. No, there is never any appropriate time to do that, apparently, according to this. Otherwise, it's white supremacy. Denying racism, so you just have to believe everything. Let's see. Myth of meritocracy. It's not a myth. That's the thing. Thing about myth of meritocracy is that it's not actually a myth. It's just reality. It's just reality. Take a look at, why do Asian people succeed everywhere they go, regardless of where they're starting out? Asian people can show up like off a boat they built themselves from like Thailand or something, and wherever they end up within a generation, they're doing well, right? they believe in meritocracy, right? They believe in conscientiousness. It's not a myth, it's a reality. Of course, though, we do have to recognize that it's also white supremacy, according to Harvard. Harvard. These are this. That, I mean, the elite institutions. At some point, aren't they just going to collapse? I mean, at some point, isn't it going to be a bad thing to get a degree from Harvard for an employer just to say, "Oh yeah, we can't hire them; they're nuts." Stop and frisk, U.S. military rescue what? Rescue operations are racist? Color blindness. So again, not judging somebody by the color of their skin is white supremacy, according to these people. I'm sure we've all heard this before, but still, even going back to it, no matter how many times you go back to it and reread it, you still go, I can't believe this. What? How can this be real? How can this be Harvard? Okay. One thing I thought really interesting. Oh, here we have all lives matter, of course. Of course. Illegal aliens. They're just against reality. They're against anything that, like, you go through here, like, they're against anything that would make for a good society. Like, color blindness makes for a better society. Judging people on the content of their character makes for a better society, right? Having the expectation, people having the expectation, right, that their identity doesn't matter. It's what they do. That makes for better people because that makes for self-accountable people, people who don't blame everybody else for their problems. That's going to make for a better high trust society. So they're against everything that would make a functioning society. And then we go up. One thing I thought was very interesting was Anti-Defamation League, ADL. So now they hate the ADL. The ADL's always been on their side. Thought that's very interesting, isn't it? We're going to get to that in a second. Of course, so lynching and burning crosses is directly connected to not judging people by their skin color, according to Harvard. According to Harvard. They say racial slurs and jokes. This is in the genocide section of this. Jokes. They consider jokes to be essentially genocide. All right, let's get back to this. Anti-Defamation League. How are they in there? They used to be like, as thick as thieves, ADL and all this crazy gibberish, right? Let's take a look. Let's take a look at, what do we have? Glossary of Extremism and Hate from the ADL. ADL has just been a extension of the Democrat Party to demonize anybody who's not far left, essentially. So all of a sudden they now are on this, they are now a part of this pyramid of white supremacy. That's very interesting. This must be a new edition, right? This must be since October 7th, right? Glossary of Extremism and Hate. So in the news right now, here you go. White supremacy, anti-Semitism, white supremacy, right-wing, anti-Semitism. You never see anything left-wing. You would never see anything left-wing. There's no left-wing extremism, ever. But I noticed something interesting. Let's see. You've got this, a bunch of stuff that nobody's ever heard of and nobody knows what any of this means. 764, right-wing. But all of a sudden you've got the Party for Socialism and Liberation, left wing. This is on their map now. Well, that's very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Let's see. Mazar Badil, left wing. Left wing. Isn't that interesting? All of a sudden, they've got a couple. This is not a normal thing for the ADL. It's normally just to smear anybody who's not supportive of the Democrat Party in the United States. All of a sudden, extreme anti-Zionist international organization. So are they starting to realize that the left actually hates them? I mean, I don't know. There's been all those mobs shouting genocidal chants for a while now. Did it finally kind of clue into them that actually, their own people hate them? Interesting, because that's a new thing. Let's see. What do we got here? Right wing. White supremacist. Everybody's a white supremacist. These guys must be colorblind or something. Let's see. White supremacist. white supremacist. I bet these guys are judging people by the content of their character or something. I don't know. All this stuff. It's just, but all of a sudden, there's a couple of left-wing ones out of the blue. They never have this stuff. Never. So that was kind of interesting. It's interesting to see the left eating itself. Is the ADL starting to realize that they've been training their own executioners? Washington Free Beacon. Scathing Harvard report details pervasive anti-Semitism driven by politicized instruction. I am sorry for the moments when we failed to meet the high expectations we rightfully set for our community, says University President Garber. But I would say that, yes, I think that this is insane. These places are all insane. But, right, we really should have, maybe this was the point. When they started putting out this stuff, this was the point to say, hold on, something's wrong. So it's all just this big, kind of messy, grotesque, just gross, like the worst ideas that humans have ever had. How about that? Look at this colorblindness. They don't want a world where everybody gets along. That's the only way you get that. Right? They judge people by the content of their character is the only way that you get to, a nice world, a nice, high trust world where people get along. Anything else, you're just setting yourself up for trouble. You're setting up a divided society that's going to live on resentment. That's it. It's just, again, you feel like you're in a different, like an alternate universe when you see this stuff. This is Harvard, and this is crazy. Like, this is actually insane. And if you wanted to come up with design a way to literally destroy your own civilization into a bunch of competing interest groups and where nothing can get accomplished, this is what you do. You couldn't do any better than this. If you wanted to wreck your civilization, if you want to burn it to the ground, you couldn't do anything. You couldn't do any better than this. Total and utter lunacy. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. Please like, share, and subscribe. Subscribing really helps me out. I thank you for that. I will see you next time.